and welcome to another week of the regular season of Reddit League. My name is Atomo, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-caster, Calamity. Hello.
Hi.
Calamity, how many tri-colored flags are there in the world?
Oh God. A lot. I would guess about, let me say, about half of them. I would guess.
But half the flags in the world are all tri-colored.
I would assume so, yes.
I don't just mean like there's only three colors in the entire flag, like America, but actually just the three stripes.
Oh, then
Right.
less.
Yeah.
Probably like 50.
Oh, good guess. Got to be somewhere like that. I would say at least 20, 30 of them.
You say good
Or
guess
more,
and don't
so.
know the answer yourself. I could
No,
be
I
way
don't know
off.
the answer. Yeah, so if you know the answer, let us know in the comments below. If you don't, Google it and then tell us what it is. As I'm sure as I talk, Calamity is doing that right now.
Yes.
So pause the video if you don't want to be spoiled, and come back once you've got an answer. But yeah, so we actually have, it's not kind of relevant to our matchup today. We have two people from flags that look like just to be rotated versions of each other in Paula and MTheBassman, France and the Netherlands, blue, white, and red tri-colored flags in this Division 2 matchup in this one. And both of these competitors, Calamity, mid-table, and with only about 2 more weeks left to go, are pretty much set on that mid-table position. But fighting for a bit of pride here to see who can top the best of the rest, so to speak.
Yeah, they're pretty much in no contention for promotion and relegation anymore. And as Paula has a bye week next week, if MTheBassman wants to finish ahead of him in the table, he'll have to beat him today, as they're both on the same amount of points currently. And they are pretty close in the standings. And I would say, just in how I know the two of them, that Paula has a higher skill ceiling, but also a lower lows as well. And MTheBassman's a bit more consistent. So on a good day, I think Paula is definitely the favorite, but I can also see MTheBassman winning it if Paula has a bad day.
Yeah, definitely. The aces, 7 more aces for Paul there, but their average score and best games pretty close to each other. Again, kind of that consistency showing up that MTheBassman's average points is slightly higher, while Paul's best game is slightly higher. So very close so far this season. 5 wins and 4 losses for them both, so not a lot to separate them. And this head-to-head matchup will pretty much do that. Who is the better of the two? And the map to decide that is Bolivia, our Week 10 map. Author is Just Denol, average score 17,267, over 1,000 locations, and a couple hundred plays by now. It's definitely been played more since I've made this. Yeah, basic map of Bolivia. Definitely practicable, and we know that Paul likes to practice as well as MTheBassman. So maybe it will come down to that, Calamity.
Yeah, could definitely be a factor. I don't know how much Paul practiced for Bolivia, but it's definitely a country where practice can pay off. Partly because of the small amount of coverage, also because for a lot of Bolivia, the signage isn't amazing. Generally, if you are in cities or smaller towns, you'll find plenty of signs. But if you're just on a random road somewhere, it can be difficult to find much information with a short time limit. So definitely, if you already know which road you're on, you're going to have a big advantage over someone who has to find a sign first. Because it also then helps you with pinpointing, where if you, for example, have 2 minutes, you already know which road you're on, then you can maybe look at things like road direction and stuff like that already, while someone else might still not know which road he's even on, so he can't use that as information.
Indeed. Well, we'll see who practiced the most and how generous or evil the seed is as we jump into round number 1 here. And, well, the camera's a little bit weird to start off with, tilted slightly to the side, but there are some of those signs, but how good of signs is another matter. These ones do appear to have some town or district names towards the top there. Cochabamba there on the sign, and both of them will pick up on that in the first 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm. I saw on pretty much the only thing I saw on Tall Palace was that it said Cochabamba and there was a dash before, so I assumed there was another city there, which I couldn't read in time. And for Bassman, I pretty much, as soon as he sort of panned away and went on with his searching, I saw that it said department of something that I couldn't read again. So I don't actually know what it said on those signs. But Tall Impala definitely just went past the sign for the river, which is, was that the sign for the river actually, or was that generally the town sign? Hard to tell.
It was a Rio something, so.
Yeah, but if the town is called Rio something.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It's not an uncommon name for a town as well. They both appear to think they're in the same Cochabamba city, but they're not entirely confident about that. Rio Blanco is about generic of a Spanish name as you can get.
That's definitely the town name though, because there's no river here.
There's no, well, not anymore at least. Who knows what there might have been. But yeah, they'll finally both head out of town, and again in the similar direction, so they'll be equal on information at least for this. Trying to find some kind of sign. There is some water not too far away.
Yeah.
There we go. Bolivia 4. That's a very nice sign. That'll confirm the road. But they pretty much both already have that.
Yeah, and the 4 is also a pretty long road. So it's not the most helpful information, but definitely the 7 kilometers to Bulu Bulu at least help a bit.
There's Rio Blanco finally moving his pin to that city. Is Tall Impala, and well, it looks like MTheBassman is thinking that this might be the town too. I don't think he's seen that name. I'm sure he went past that sign because they traveled the same direction, but maybe it didn't quite register as much. But it does fit the road.
You must have seen it somewhere, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Definitely hit a river as they went west. They worked their way back from that, and good enough for an ace for MTheBassman. About 30 more seconds for Tall to see if he wants to get the same thing. Still traveling quite a bit with very little time left.
That was interesting to look at, because I just noticed that here. I didn't notice that before. MTheBassman orientated himself with the roads to the south of the road, and Tall Impala is doing it with the roads to the north. That's something I never really thought about before, that, you know, you can just choose different roads to, you know, do your pinpointing.
Yeah, as long as it works, it doesn't matter how you get there. Unfortunately for Tall, it'll be 1 point off of an ace for him, 4,999, which means that MTheBassman will be taking a very slim lead into round number 2, Calamity.
Yep, 1 point lead is probably not going to matter. Technically still on for a perfect game, but as we all know, Bolivia is not exactly a country where you're going to have an easy time pinpointing 5 rounds. So I don't think either of them are, even before Tall Impala lost a point here, I don't think either of them were likely to get a perfect game anyway. So it's just 1 point of difference. It pretty much, they might as well be equal after 1 round. It's not going to change much.
Okay, well, let's see what round number 2 can do. And, for those of you who watched our Division 1 cast, this road will look very familiar, and it looks like both of our players have played that seed. As they zoom on in, actually, definitely Tall has, and MTheBassman thinks he remembers it, and yeah, Tall definitely did. Took him a whole 20 seconds, not even 20 seconds, to get that ace for that one. MTheBassman not too far behind. I believe he is on that right road. A rather roundabout way to get to it, but that does appear to be the correct one.
Yeah, it's good that they're not taking too much time on this, because we've definitely seen enough of this location.
Yeah. If I remember right, Clemity, it's not the exact location, but it is the same road.
Yeah, this
just
is
a
with
bit further down.
This is with side road KU 137, and the one in the Division 1 seed is KU 134.
Pretty close.
Yep.
But not identical, and that will mean an ace for both of them in round number 2. So again, not much to separate them, but again, pretty easy. Round number one having some good signage, and this one being a location that was very familiar to them, having played Division One. So.
Yeah, for sure. Both of them players who always play the other division seeds as well. So whenever they get around where it's a repeat, you can be pretty sure that they're both going to get it right.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough, they do. It took MTheBassman a little bit longer to do it, but he still did it nonetheless, as we'll jump into round number 3. And this might have a chance to separate them. A long, straight road in nowhere.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier when I said some roads aren't that well signed. We'll see if they find some useful information on here. They're going different directions. That's interesting.
At least make it interesting in terms of how they come about trying to get their pinpointing done with different information. There's a small sign for tall, but probably not going to be too helpful.
It can be good for pinpointing, as especially things like that. I think that was maybe some kind of plantation, maybe it's a factory for something, but those can definitely show up on the map.
But yeah, that's a very good
definitely.
Distances, as well as some city names, will definitely help.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we're on that 4 again. It's a pretty long road because we're way on the other end of the country.
It's probably the best, and there we go. There's sign that
there's
probably the best.
There's the point of interest.
Probably the best sign he could have found there, to be honest.
Unfortunately for MTheBassman, he's been traveling east this whole time and hasn't seen anything. And trying to figure out exactly where we might be on this road. There we go. There's a little bit of a sign for MTheBassman, but he zipped right past it. Just under 2 minutes to go now. Is yet to even open the map. Yeah, really long, straight road. And is the 4 pretty much the only road that's this straight for that long in Bolivia, going sort of east-west?
Yes, the only one going east. Well, yes, actually. I was thinking
in
this
coverage at least.
Yeah, I was thinking this one also, but that's also still the 4 because it just goes across the whole country. So yeah,
and
that's
there we go. There's
one.
a sign that MTheBassman finally start to use, but those towns are a mighty long distance away.
Yeah, it's definitely less useful than the one Tall Impala found because he's got much less of an estimate on the distances. You can still get roughly in the right place without losing too many points, but yeah, definitely you want to have some closer distances.
That pinpoint did prove difficult for Tall. 4,978 points for him. While we were trying to see if MTheBassman could even figure out the road, he does. And just under 40 seconds left to go. Let's see if he can keep his perfect game alive. But that curve that he's currently looking at is about the best it's going to get. We'll see what he can do. That. Yeah. Now, he doesn't have that point of interest information to help him.
He does it now. Well, in about 2 seconds.
He'll get it just with 10 seconds or so left to go. If he doesn't go past it, he'll have less than 10 seconds.
Yep. He has no time at all to find it.
Okay, well now it'll be a little bit gone, and he'll be a little bit too far down the road. The wrong curve on a largely straight road will cost him over 1,000 points, 3,780 for him. So there we go. Finally, our first gap of about 1,100 points. Calamity.
1,200 points, yes. Definitely a pretty big gap for Bolivia, actually, because yeah, I did say it's not easy to pinpoint, as you could see here in Tall Impala as well, who is still 600 meters off because it was just a pretty straight road. But generally, if you do figure out where you are, which is not too difficult most of the time, then there's only really 2 roads, I think, which is the 4 on this sort of stretch far to the east, or in specific places the 9, where it's really any difficult at all to figure out the right place you're on. So it's a low chance to lose a lot of points in Bolivia.
me see. Well, yeah, after a very nice first couple rounds, round 3 was not nice to either of them, and that gives us our gap heading into round number 4 here. Tall and Paul sitting at 14,977, and MTheBassman 13,780. And a very nice bridge close to the start will be handy for pinpointing once they know the general area.
Mm-hmm.
And they do, because this one as well is a repeat. Well, again, not the exact location, but very similar.
Mm-hmm.
So they probably were here in their Division 1 seed again. And they'll be using that. Oh, again, Tall and Paula just a point off. Maybe a little bit too fast. Maybe
sloppy,
knowing an ace won't really get him too much point other than on the stat sheet. 4,999 for him.
Yeah, let me
which means MTheBassman will have to do at least sort of likewise if he wants to stay within touching distance in the last round. He'll actually put us on that bridge. Again, still over 2 minutes to go. And he'll do the same thing. Put us on what appears to be the right side of the river, but given where the river is on the map, always fun to try to guess that. And he will as well. A little bit closer, did a better job, but still 4,999.
What do you mean what appears to be the right side of the river? We're clearly on the eastern side of the river, but yeah, I don't know why.
It looked like it might have been the western side,
no,
but then
it was 100% the eastern side.
Maybe where I thought the spawn was not actually the spawn when I caught them on the cameras.
That might be it.
Yeah, but also it's like obviously there's a riverbed that's very wide, and where the actual water is not that wide, and so you're like, well,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Difficult to tell sometimes on Google Maps if the size of the river on the map is actually the size of the river in real life, because sometimes you get big rivers and it's like one small blue line, and you're like, well, it's clearly bigger than that. But I think in this case the river was about as big as it is on the map, which was pretty small. So, and if you just placed it exactly on the river, you're gonna get 5k as well. So yeah,
maybe they're trying a little bit too hard to guess where we might be, and just unfortunately for them, cost them that ace in that round. But we're into our final round here in round number 5. And still quite a bit of a lead for Tall Impala. Over 1,000 points. It's going to take a really big mistake from Tall to let MTheBassman pick up a win here. And he probably couldn't have asked for a much better, at least starting position. As I say that, they do find, Tall finds a very nice sign. At least this gives MTheBassman a chance that something could, that Tall could drop some points here as I try to read and talk at the same time. I don't recommend it. But no, that sign will definitely seal the fate.
Yeah.
That will be enough to at least get them close, which means that I don't think Tall can drop 1,000 points here.
It is a fairly distinct road to begin with.
Ronnie also not too far away. Hydroelectric dam. This could have been from our Dams of the World week. Map Maker is watching. Maybe you can add this location to it if it isn't already on there.
Well, it depends on if there's street view coverage at the dam itself.
That is true. Whether or not how close the coverage can get. They do have to backtrack a bit to where they actually started. Tall and Paula doing that and then heading south this time.
He headed south the first time as well.
Oh gosh, she did, yes. That sign again, maybe judging that distance a second time. Now that he knows where to look. He'll work his way back up around this U-turn in the road. MTheBassman checking out very far away. I'm not sure why. Maybe just kind of put his fears to bed that he is in the right spot. Nothing else in the area looks like it could be this, so he is in fact in the right spot.
He's not.
He's not in the right spot, but he's not in a worse spot. How about that?
To find worst spot, he's about like 500 kilometers away.
But did he not put his pin down where he was looking?
Depends on when you mean.
Yeah, that's the problem. I've been jumping back and forth between them. Like, I thought he was pretty close to the lake, just like Tall was. But maybe he didn't actually put a pin down. I just happened to look when he was looking at that area and didn't actually commit. And with about 30 seconds left, he's going to have to commit very soon. He doesn't want to make things any worse for himself. Oh, so he was just looking at it. His pin is way over there. That is a weird thing, okay, because he was looking. There we go. He spent a lot of time looking at that area, and I didn't realize he didn't actually have a pin down. And now his location, I think, is actually slightly better than...
Not 100% sure where Tall is, but it looks like he's on the
further
wrong
down the
side as
road.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, so he is slightly better in that round. I can go back and pick that up. 4,921 to Tall's 4,912. Both of them on the wrong side of the loop. And Tall a bit further south as well will cost him a few points, but again, not enough to make him lose a round. So Tall will pick up that win and claim a nice spot in the middle of the tables there. He'll be happy with that. Unfortunately, not enough to get himself promoted this season. He just missed out last season. So he'll be a little rough. But given how he started the season, Calamity, I think he's going to be very happy where he is right now.
Yeah, definitely. He had a pretty rough, first half of the season. And he definitely finished it off. Because he's got a bye week next week. Finished it off pretty well, and yeah, you can definitely look forward to the next season and try and get himself promoted then finally.
Again, but yeah, 24,888 for Tall as his final score, 23,702 for MTheBassman. So yeah, again, at this level, Calamity, one small round is all it takes to cost you the game, and Tall will take it this time. Well, thank you all for watching. If you enjoy this kind of thing, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. We're approaching those playoffs, so I'm really pushing. I hope you guys catch everything we have coming for you, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye.